Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are popping the hood on a machine that literally defines our modern era. Even if you use one every single day, which, let's be real, we all do, taking a step back to look at the foundational anatomy of the computer gives us an incredible perspective on exactly how we got here. We're going to strip away all that intimidating jargon and just look at the real mechanical evolution of the modern computer.
Okay, let's quickly map out our curriculum for today so we know exactly where we're headed. We'll start by defining the modern computer, look at the input, process, and output loop, check out the core hardware components, trace the evolution of computing, discuss its impact on human life, and finally wrap up with a quick comprehension check.
So, Section 1, Defining the Modern Computer. Let's jump right in.
At its core, a computer is really just an electronic machine designed to process specially prepared pieces of information. I mean, when you strip away the mystique of all those glowing screens and infinite apps, it's basically just a tool. It's kind of like a hammer or a sewing machine, right? But instead of working with physical materials like wood or fabric, its raw material is just information.
And, well, that brings us to our next absolutely crucial term, data. Data represents those specially prepared pieces of information that the computer handles, manipulates, or calculates. Whether it's doing complex math, updating a massive database, or just making logical comparisons, data is the vital lifeblood flowing through the machine. Without data, the computer is literally just an empty vessel sitting there waiting for instructions.
Moving right along to Section 2, Input, Process, and Output. Now, every single computer, regardless of its make, model, or design, operates on this one fundamental three-step logical flow. Step 1 is input. This is the information or the raw instructions presented to the machine. Step 2 is processing. These are the internal manipulative operations, basically where the computer acts on those instructions. And finally, Step 3 is output, the returned result that the machine gives back to us. Input, process, output. It's an incredibly elegant logical sequence.
To really ground this, there's a brilliantly relatable analogy from our source material, clothing manufacturing. Just picture a textile factory. The input is the raw cut cloth. The processing is the actual physical act of sewing those pieces together. And the output? That's the beautiful finished garment ready to be worn. Your computer is doing the exact same thing, just, well, with data instead of fabric.
All right, let's get physical in Section 3, the core hardware components.
So the absolute high-speed centerpiece, the real brain of the operation, is the Central Processing Unit, or CPU. This is where the actual heavy lifting of calculations and data manipulations happens. But, the CPU can't work alone. Attached to it are input devices, like the keyboard you type on, or older tech like card readers, which feed it data. And when that data needs to be saved for the long haul, we use secondary storage devices, like magnetic disks or solid-state drives. It's a perfectly orchestrated team of hardware, working totally in sync.
Now, early on, people kind of thought of computers as just these extremely large, single-purpose adding machines. But that's a super narrow view. As our source points out, its versatility is limited only by the imagination of those using it. Think about that for a second. Because a computer's basic instructions can be combined in an infinite number of sequences, its potential is boundless. It's a truly universal machine, literally restricted solely by the creativity of the humans programming it.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, the evolution of computing. Talk about a stark contrast in history. Back in the late 1950s and early 60s, computers were unbelievably expensive and massive, literally taking up entire rooms. And they required a small army of support personnel just to keep them running without crashing. Fast forward to today, and that immense computing power is completely portable, compact, and vastly cheaper. We're casually carrying around in our pockets a machine millions of times more powerful than those room-sized behemoths. It's crazy.
Let's look at the human side of this in Section 5, Impact on Human Life.
The big takeaway here is that computers haven't just changed the speed of our work, they've totally elevated human potential. By taking over all those routine, boring, and repetitive calculations, computers have freed us up to focus on the truly interesting, creative, and highly complex stuff. Plus, they've sparked entirely new industries and professions that literally didn't even exist before their development. A real game changer.
All right, let's wrap this up with Section 6, Quick Comprehension Check.
So, to honor the academic roots of our source material, which actually originates from a university-level comprehension lecture, we're going to pull a couple of questions directly from their true-false exercises. Let's see how well we've absorbed all these foundational concepts today.
Okay, here is your first question. True or false?
Computers are very much restricted in what they can do. I'll pause for just a sec so you can think back to our chat about hardware and human creativity.
If you guessed false, you hit the nail right on the head. As we highlighted earlier, computers have practically no limits to what they can do. They definitely aren't single-purpose machines. Because their basic instructions can be infinitely combined, they are restricted only by the imagination and the skill of the people sitting at the keyboard programming them.
Let's do one final, kind of provocative question to see if the core theme of this explainer truly stuck with you. Ready? Are the basic concepts of data processing, that input, process, and output sequence we talked about, are they restricted to computers alone?
The answer to that is a resounding no way. The basic concepts of data processing actually happen in almost every single aspect of human life, whether we're at work or just hanging out. Think about it. When you read a book, process the ideas in your head, and then write down notes, you are functioning as an input, process, and output system. I'm going to leave you with that thought to reflect on today. You, my friend, are an incredible processing machine yourself. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.